Feilu Novel Network A.Level Contracted Novel. I am the Guardian Spirit of Hinata in Hokage. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. 9-year-old Loli Xiaochutian. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. What is a guardian spirit? Is it something similar to a spirit beast? A timid and weak voice sounded. Looking at the little girl in front of me. Chen patiently explained, actually, it's pretty much the same. From today on, I'm your companion, and I'm the kind of person who never gives up, even if it's taking a shower or sleeping, we have to be together. In fact, Chen's mood is very complicated. He had already reached the peak of the One Piece world and overthrew the entire world government on his own. Just as he was pondering whether to casually find a girl and marry for the rest of his life. He, the traveler, once again traveled through. Looking at this little girl with purple-black hair and cataracts-like eyes, and introducing herself as Hinata. Chen knew he had come to the world of Naruto. Should this journey be so casual? A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for others. He actually encountered it twice within 10 years. I guess no one will believe it when I say it out. Even taking a shower. Sleeping. Do we have to be together? Hinata's delicate and fair face suddenly covered with a layer of red frost. Although she is not very old this year and just a little girl, she has received school education for other matters between men and women. For such matters, she is not in a naive state. How can this? How can this be? You. I'm a girl, you're a man, even if you're some kind of guardian spirit, we. When the words reached this point, there was suddenly no sound. Living in a strange state different from that of living beings, Chen, who was floating next to her, turned her head and her eyelids twitched slightly. Because he saw that Hinata, who was not very old, had fainted with a roll of her eyes at this moment. Her small face was covered in an indescribable crimson color, and strands of steam were rising from her forehead. Is this a bit too shy? He doesn't know how to treat a little girl. Although the future Hinata is a big milk cough and cough. But now she has a flat figure. It hasn't developed yet. Not even Loli can be considered, at best, she can be called a young girl. Chen suddenly extended a finger. An arc flashed across my fingertips. Gently tap on Hinata's forehead. Under the stimulation of the electric arc, Hinata, who was originally too shy and blushed and unconscious, was instantly awakened. This is the incredibly subtle way of using the thunderbolt fruit. Hinata, who had regained consciousness, had a bewildered expression on her small face. I wonder why I am lying on the ground. I patted the snowflakes on my body. She quickly stood up. Yes. I'm sorry, Mr. Guardian Spirit. I don't know why I fell to the ground. Yes. By the way, will you always be by my side in the future? Hinata suddenly bowed and apologized, although her face was still flushed. Even still emitting steam. But at least I haven't passed out. Is this considered progress? Chen's tone was quite helpless, and he answered, so far, it seems like this. At least I have no choice but to leave you 2,000 meters away. Chen is not sure why he became the guardian spirit of Hinata. It's like he doesn't know why he's traveling again. But let it be as it comes. Based on Hinata's current age, she is only 9.10 years old at most, and at this time she has not even met Naruto. Because of Chen's travels, all the little brats who bullied her were scared away. So the first meeting between Naruto and Hinata was destroyed like this. The current timeline is close to the beginning of the plot. There are still several years left. In the world of Hokage, with his own strength, he is capable of reaching the level of Super Shadow. Even in the aspect of physical skills, Chen does not believe that there are many people who are his opponents, except for a certain 8-gate Kai who has opened a cheat. This is a more dangerous world than the One Piece world. Although the early and middle stages may not seem like much, when the great collapse is set in the later stages, various bull figures and hanging walls will emerge one after another. Although Chen is very powerful, in the world of One Piece, there is no one stronger than him, but he is not too proud. Because he knows the plot of Hokage well. Knowing how deep the water in the world is. But now he has no choice but to inexplicably become the Guardian Spirit of Hinata. If anything goes wrong with Hinata, he cannot guarantee that he will follow suit. This was what gave Chen a headache, but this idea was quickly forgotten by him. Anyway, they have already traveled to Naruto. What are so many things for? Just like in the world of One Piece, at that time he was just an ordinary person. In the end, he also conquered the entire world, didn't he? As long as it comes, let it be. If it doesn't work, we can also conquer the fire's shadow, and Hinata is a submissive little girl. Since she learned that Chen had become her guardian spirit, she wouldn't resist anything, and she couldn't resist anything. She could only accept this reality. Chen is also quite satisfied with this, at least she didn't shout anything. She can be considered a well-behaved little girl. Glancing at his body in a special form, Chen suddenly reached out and rubbed Hinata's small head, with a soft smile on his face. My name is Chen, and my surname is Mingchen. I will spend the rest of my life giving you guidance. The two of them have also gotten to know each other for the first time, at least knowing each other's names, isn't it? Hinata looked up at Chen, her ordinary attire, handsome profile, and indescribable temperament all told her that her guardian spirit was definitely not a simple character. Do I have to spend a lifetime with him in the future? Can this relationship be considered a marital relationship? Except for men and women who have a marital relationship. No couple can coexist day and night, right? Hinata's delicate little face was covered in a crimson hue. At a young age, her mind was filled with thoughts and suddenly fell into a state of stagnation. Chapter 2. Illusions in the Hokage World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time passed by day, and in the blink of an eye, it was already half a month later. During this half-month, both Hinata and Chen had gradually become accustomed to each other's existence. At first, Hinata didn't even dare to take a shower. After all, no matter what, Chen is all male. However, with the passage of time and Chen's persuasion and guidance, Hinata was finally able to reluctantly accept taking a shower under a man's nose. At the beginning, I may still blush or even faint, but later on, I feel much better. Although my face is still flushed, at least I haven't passed the coma. This may also be considered a kind of progress. As the morning approached, Chen, who was in the sea of consciousness in Hinata, was surprised to find that Hinata, this little girl, woke up earlier than him. Looking at the current sky, it should be around 6:00 in the morning. Isn't this girl usually waking up at 7:00? Hinata, who was hurriedly brushing her teeth and washing her face, suddenly heard a voice in her mind. Little girl, why did she get up so early today? Chen is already 25 years old, and Hinata is only 9 years old this year. It's not an exaggeration to call her a little girl. Hinata, holding a clean towel, wiped the water stains on her fair face and instinctively replied, "Today is ninja school, and I have to hurry up for the biannual final exam, otherwise I will be late." The Hinata of this timeline is not even Nishin. When she became Nishin, she should have been around 12 years old, but she is only 9 years old this year, and there are still 3 years left until graduation. And Chen fell into contemplation is the ninja school final exam. I didn't expect there to be such a thing. But it seems normal too. Every school should have exams, right? There can't be a school without it. However, looking at Hinata's submissive personality and her pitiful weakness, Chen's lips twitched slightly. It didn't seem like she could pass the exam, as Hinata half a month ago couldn't even beat a 3.5-year-old kid. And the final exam at ninja school should be very strict, right? Anyway, when Chen was in the world of the Pirate King, he joined the Navy Elite Training Program at the age of 15. At that time, there were also exams. The content of the exam at that time was to defeat a captain of the Navy headquarters. Just as he was lost in memories, Hinata had already set off. As the young lady of the Hinata clan, she didn't have anyone to escort her out, but it seems normal because she is the young lady of the Hinata clan. Although very talented, unfortunately due to personality reasons, her strength may not be as strong as her sister's fireworks skills. This is a very heart-wrenching fact. In places like the Hokage world, if your strength is not strong enough, even if you are the daughter of Hokage, there may not be anyone who values you. At the speed of Hinata. In addition, the ninja school is not far from the residence of the Hinata clan, so it took less than half an hour to arrive. Who? It's okay, Teacher Irika said he had to arrive before 6:40, and it seems like he wasn't late today. Fortunately, he arrived on time. Hinata held her knees with two small hands and spat out fragrant orchids in her mouth. A few drops of sweat spilled over the fair and smooth forehead. Meanwhile, Chen, who was in the sea of consciousness in the embryonic fields, looked around with curious eyes. For the past half-month, he had been familiarizing himself with this special body, which was somewhat like a soulful body. But this body can also touch things, no different from the physical body. It can be said to be very strange. So even though Hinata often came to ninja school for half a month, Chen didn't have time to take a look at the school. Now that he had familiarized himself with this body painting, he had time to take a look around. As he had imagined, most of the people here were little brats. The age ranges from 7 to 12 years old. Ninja school is like a primary school on Earth. The total academic year is 6 years. Hinata is currently in 3rd grade, but if she passes the final exam, she may be promoted to 4th grade, and she is still 2 or 3 years away from graduation. Watching Hinata run towards the classroom all the way, Chen was also happy and relaxed. He hardly ever rested a day in the world of One Piece. Either practicing or killing pirates every day. It's not bad for him to slack off a bit now. Although laziness may not necessarily be comfortable, not putting in effort is definitely very comfortable. Chen instantly understood this truth. Duh. The door of the classroom was pushed open by Hinata. Looking at the sparse heads inside the classroom, Hinata breathed a sigh of relief and patted the small tablet on his chest, saying, "I'm sure I'm not late. I hope I can pass the final exam." Her theoretical knowledge is very good, but her psychological quality is not up to par. So Hinata is very worried that he will fail the exam. In that case, we will have to repeat the grade for 1 year. When she found her seat to sit down, Chen was looking at the people around him. He saw many familiar faces, such as a whirlpool Naruto with a crane tail and an expressionless Uchiha Sasuke. The most recognizable one should be Sakura with pink hair, right? After all, pink hair color is not an ordinary rarity. Just then a faint sound of footsteps came. A young man wearing a wooden leaf protector walked in with a dozen exam papers in his hand. This person is truly the Irika from the original work. The scar on his face is exactly the same. A stack of test papers was quickly distributed. After all, ninjas also have to take theoretical exams, and for theoretical exams Hinata's performance was very relaxed, and in terms of theory, she can be said to be at the level of a top student. However, it's not just about taking a theoretical exam. After the theoretical exam is completed. As a teacher, Irika said, "Next, let's test your ninja psychological qualities. Although you are only 9.10 years old, in times of war, ninjas of this age can even participate in war." And just as Irika was about to say something, a sword in his hand suddenly broke open the door, tearing apart the air and making a whistling sound. piercing directly at Irika's neck, with crimson blood splattering out. Chen, who had been observing everything around, was slightly stunned and looked at Irika, who had collapsed to the ground. He murmured to himself, "Fantasy. Unfortunately, I can't hide my observations and my aura is domineering." Chapter 3. Chen's Domineering in Domineering Demeanor. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. This is not the first time Chen has seen something like illusion. He has encountered it in the world of the One Piece, a demon fruit capable of creating illusion. Although the illusions in the two worlds are different, they are all illusions no matter what. At least in terms of the opponent's illusory skills. I can't hide Chen's domineering aura. He could clearly see everything, whether it was the sudden suffering of the handle or the Irika who collapsed with blood spurting from his neck, all of which were illusory. The real Irika was standing motionless in the corner, seemingly observing the expressions of the students. And Chen can see that there seems to be an extra person outside. It should be the illusion used by the person outside. Such a large-scale illusion. I guess he is a ninja proficient in illusions. Teacher Irika. There are enemies. What to do, what to do? If Teacher Irika's injury is not treated in time, then it could be fatal. Calm down a bit. How could someone attack and kill a ninja in Kiba? But Teacher Irika has already fallen. What exactly is going on? Watching Irika's throat pierced by a sword in his hand, dozens of students in the classroom suddenly became panicked. Although most of them passed the theoretical courses very well. But many people are still seeing dead people for the first time. And it was their teacher who died. This has caused most students to panic. There are only a few, and those with good psychological qualities frown and observe the movements around them, such as highly intelligent children like Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, who has not experienced the extermination of the clan for long. The children who were making a big fuss were represented by Naruto Vortex and Sakura Haruno. Hinata held her pink lips in her hands. The exquisite face was filled with shock. She murmured to herself, "Teacher Irika, teacher he is. He's okay." A familiar voice rang out from Hinata's mind, and the speaker was clearly Chen. He continued to speak, "Your teacher is standing on the left corner of the wall, it's just an illusion." Chen's familiar voice made Hinata feel inexplicably at ease. Her little face wore a surprised expression. Illusion. But it doesn't look like it. If you don't believe it, you can open your eyes and take a look. I don't have enough chakras right now, I can't open my eyes. Chen. He was very puzzled how Hinata could graduate from ninja school at the age of 12. This little girl is already in the second half of 3rd grade. The result is that they haven't been able to open their eyes yet. Not much chakra is needed to use white eyes, right? Don't you have any chakras like this? Anyway, all you need to know is that this is just an illusion in front of you. Oh. I understand. Hinata nodded his head seriously. The panic on his face gradually dissipated. I don't know why, but she trusts what Chen said very much. Maybe it's because we stayed together for a long time. I'm afraid that's the only reason. Meanwhile, Irika, who was hiding in the corner, looked at his class of students with great interest and murmured to himself, Lomaru and Sasuke are pretty good, but there is still a bit of panic on his face. Naruto and Sakura, isn't this reaction too extreme? Psychological qualities still need to be polished. Irika suddenly noticed that Hinata, who was sitting in the corner, still had many impressions of this young lady from the Hinata clan. Although Hinata is the eldest daughter of the Hinata family, these talents are barely justifiable. That's because I don't work hard enough and my psychological quality is not very good. But now the most calm person remains. She seems to be the only one, right? It's a bit interesting. Did you see through the illusion? But it shouldn't be possible. This is Rihong's illusion. Although there may not be many people who can see through her illusion, how can these children see it? And Hinata doesn't seem to have taken his eyes seriously. Is it just a ninja's intuition? I didn't expect Hinata, this child, to have such a talent. As expected, none of the direct blood relatives of the Hinata clan are simple. However, what Irika didn't know was that Hinata was so calm. It was because Chen told her that everything in front of her was fake. It's all caused by illusions. So she is now so calm. At the same time, Hinata was also very curious. She couldn't help but ask weakly, Guardian Spirit Brother. How did you know this was an illusion? Seeing and hearing colors are domineering, able to see through everything in the world without the need for eyes. Chen answered very calmly. Have you ever seen or heard of a domineering appearance? Hinata's face was filled with confusion. She has heard of writing will eyes, white eyes, blood inheritance boundaries, forbidden techniques, but I just haven't heard of it before. In this world, it's amazing to see things without the need for eyes. Chen did not provide much explanation for this, as it was easy to explain. It's really not an ordinary trouble. He is using his aura to dominate. Observe the so-called ninja illusion. Chen, who was in the sea of consciousness in Hinata, muttered to himself, I don't know if the illusions in this world can be violently cracked like the one with the ability to crack the fruit of the illusions in the One Piece world. A hint of curiosity rose in Chen's heart, and he was a little eager to try. And he won't be afraid of anything. With one's own strength in the world of Hokage definitely able to walk horizontally in the first and middle stages. But when trying, it's better to avoid this little girl. Chen said helplessly. His eyes suddenly froze slightly, and a terrifying aura, like a towering and terrifying one, overflowed from him like a surging tide, rapidly spreading in all directions. This terrifying aura cleverly bypassed Hinata. Suddenly, black arcs flickered around. The air twisted and oscillated in waves. Even faint cracks appeared on the wall. One by one, the little brats rolled their eyes and fell into a coma. I can't even hold on for a millisecond. Even the middle ninja of Irika, the wooden leaf, persisted for less than a second. Truly collapsed on the ground. Hegemonic and Domineering. Chapter 4. Shocked by the monkey flying sun / Kiba urgently. You are listening at novel full.audio. The terrifying intimidation almost condensed the surrounding air, and under the erosion of the domineering aura, a person fell to the ground like a domino, not even knowing what had happened. The only sober person inside the ninja school is probably the person outside the door. It's the person who used a large scale illusion. At this moment, Zirihong's forehead was covered in layers of sweat. With one hand tightly gripping the doorknob, she couldn't help but secretly bite the tip of her tongue. The pain emanating from her tongue finally made her more conscious. Her face was filled with a look of shock, and her eyes were full of vigilance and disbelief. What kind of momentum is this? Surprisingly, she almost fainted. And what are the black arcs that occasionally flash in the air? Is this killing gas? It doesn't seem very similar. What kind of person is inside the wooden leaves to possess this aura? This kind of aura resembling a king. Is it a 3-generation-old man? Or Tuanzang? Or is it Konoha Sannin, one of whom has returned? But even these people couldn't have this kind of momentum, could they? Looking at the cracks spreading on the wall. Rihong's heart was horrified to the extreme. Can affect the momentum of objects. Is this a bit exaggerated? What have you encountered on Earth? However, what Rihong didn't know was that now it's not just ninja schools, but also being affected by the domineering and domineering nature. You should know that Chen, in the world of One Piece, surpasses the existence of Whitebeard. Once his domineering aura erupts, it is enough to cover the entire naval headquarters. Chen is not sure how big the wooden leaves are, as he did not use sight, smell, or color to check. But his explosive domineering aura affected the range. The entire wooden leaf has been all shrouded in it. The black clouds on the sky were constantly rolling, giving a sense of imminent destruction as they pressed against the city. Black arcs were wandering around, but what was suspicious was that these black arcs had no attacking power. What is this? What a terrifying sense of oppression, this feeling. It's like a few years ago, facing the chaos of the tailed beast. Did 9 tails break through the seal? Inside the Hokage office in my village, the third-generation Hokage monkey flying sun suddenly shrank his pupils. The frightened expression on his face was beyond measure. Even the strength of his shadow-level powerhouse. He could still feel incredibly clear, as if he was being forcefully suppressed by someone with a strong aura. This feeling made him very uncomfortable, and various very ominous thoughts arose in his heart. The first reaction of monkey flying sun / was 9 tails broke through the seal. But this idea has just risen. He eliminated it. Impossible, it has been less than 10 years since Jiuwei was sealed, how could it have broken the seal so quickly? Moreover, this eerie sense of oppression possesses a royal aura that dominates the world, rather than the violent aura of the 9 tails. Not good. Lord Hokage, outside. Outside of Muba, all ninjas and civilians below Nakano have inexplicably fainted. Moreover, half of Nakano is also in a semi-fainting state. Just as the monkey flying sun beheaded with a solemn expression on his face, a secret agent named Ren hurriedly rushed in. Even the ninjas in the dark are so panicked. It is enough to illustrate that the situation is very straightforward. Are they in danger of their lives? Asked monkey flying sun in a hurry in the dark. He shook his head and said, according to the description of the medical ninja, those ninjas and civilians who had fainted were not in any serious physical condition. It was as if they had been scared out. Did you faint from being scared? And besides the ninjas at or above Nakano, none of the other ninjas and commoners were spared, all of them were unconscious. Connected with the sweeping momentum, the monkey flying sun / took a cold breath. He suddenly felt that there was a big conspiracy inside. Is it possible that someone has taken action against Mu Yi? After finally suppressing his shock, when the forehead of the monkey flying sun / would overflow with sweat, even he himself was not clear. He silently ordered, immediately dispatch all members of the secret forces, and notify the team to send his troops to thoroughly investigate this matter. The focus should be on all the foreign ninjas, not even the foreign commoners. Before the other person leaves, find out the answer as quickly as possible. I need to know who attacked Kiba. Go and notify all ninjas that Kiba has entered the first level of security. Orders were given in an orderly manner, and monkey flying sun / was depicted in the original work. Although he was a person who liked to dismantle bombs and beat them one by one, he was still a fiery figure in the wood leaf. He is naturally not lacking in strategy, but his vision may be a bit short-sighted. Otherwise, it won't ruin the essence of the leaves. There is also a certain scapegoat, it's also an old melon skin. After watching the dark figure ninja leave, Ape Flying Sun / took a deep breath and turned his head to look out the window, especially at the constantly rolling black clouds in the sky. His turbid eyes flashed with a hint of solemnity. Who would actually take action against Kiba? Are there any other people from Nanamura? Do they dare to tear up the peace treaty? Excuse me at this moment, whether it is the monkey flying sun / the night sun red, or the flag with Kakashi, the monkey flying asthma, Might Kai and other strong members of the wood leaf, all feel the terrifying momentum that sweeps across the entire wood leaf. This momentum can be said to come and go very quickly. Almost no duration of 5 seconds. It disappeared and disappeared. But everyone can still clearly feel that sense of oppression. It's just less than 5 seconds. Mu Yi endured countless hardships and became a commoner. Everyone fainted. Just one attempt of Lu Chen's domineering outburst plunged the entire wooden leaf into a tense atmosphere of panic. Unfortunately, the third generation probably couldn't find anything. After all, he was trapped in the sea of consciousness of Hinata. If all of this can be traced, then there is something suspicious. Explain why double opening, seeking collection, review tickets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The author also has a book called Swordsman Generals in the Pirate World, which is currently being updated with continuous updates and guaranteed character. The reason for the double opening is that there is a small gap in the family's funds, resulting in a significant debt. I have to work hard to open another book. The two books will be updated steadily. The pirate book should have a score of no less than 3.4 updates, while the Hokage book should have a score of acceptable and will continue to have 5 updates, with each update no less than 2,000 words. If you feel that the updates are slow, you can also take a look at the old book, The Sword Heroes of One Piece World. Alright. The young author has gone to code the characters. Wheezing. Chapter 5. Do you want to become stronger? Hinata, little girl. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sure enough, using the domineering color can shock the caster's spirit and crack her illusion, just like the one who cracked the demon fruit ability, but I don't know if the domineering color can work on the Sharingan. Lu Chen's eyes flashed with a hint of strangeness, and he naturally knew there was someone outside the door. And he also knows that it's a woman. A woman who is skilled in illusions and has decent abilities. Plus, this is my village. Is it only the night when the sun turns red? The other party was very close to him, less than 20 meters away. Under the impact of such a close and domineering aura, Shi Rihong did not even faint, which shows that her strength is very good. Of course, for Lu Chen, it's just good, that's all. If he really has a murderous heart, Shi Rihong can only live for 5 minutes. What's going on here? What's going on here? Why did everyone faint? Hinata looked around incredulously. She was just thinking about what it was when she saw, heard, and looked domineering. As a result, the surrounding classmates and teacher Irika. Unexpectedly, they all fell to the ground. Moreover, the sword in the hand of teacher Irika's neck has long disappeared, replaced by a clean neck. Looking at his orderly breathing, it is obvious that there is nothing wrong, just a coma. Lu Chen's voice rang out in her mind. They're not in any big deal. If you're worried about them, why don't you pretend to be unconscious now? Otherwise, someone might find something wrong and you'll be in trouble. Lu Chen is naturally not worried about anything, as his strength is enough to dominate the ninja world. At least in the early and middle stages of the plot, there is no problem. Under the 6 paths, he is invincible. But Hinata is a weak little chicken. Perhaps she will have good strength in the future, but what about Hinata now? I don't know if she can beat her sister's fireworks, but it's highly likely she won't be able to. If there is something strange or wrong with the Hinata at this time, I will definitely be alerted by the people of Konoha. Lu Chen is just a friendly reminder. However, even if Xiaochutian was discovered by the people of Kiba to have something wrong, Lu Chen could easily protect her and protect the little girl. The difficulty was much easier than fighting with Whitebeard. But Hinata was very obedient and actually pretended to faint on the table. The expression and demeanor imitated were extremely similar. If it weren't for this being a passionate fan, Hinata may be able to debut as a child star. And outside the door, Shi Rihong burst into the classroom in the next moment. She looked at the students who had fainted all over, as well as the middle ninja Irika, with a slight shock on her face. Is this all because of the terrifying aura just now? Surprisingly, everyone was knocked unconscious by the aura. Even Irika, who was a ninja, was knocked unconscious by his aura. Although Irika's strength is not strong in Jongren, but relying solely on momentum can knock out Irika. If it were for war, ninjas below medium tolerance, I'm afraid it will take an instant to completely annihilate the army, right? Even a large portion of the medium tolerance may not be able to resist the erosion of momentum. So many students have passed out, which is not a good omen. Shaked my slightly headache head. Shirihong's expression was very solemn. She murmured to herself, "You must hurry up and report to Lord Hokage, otherwise if something strange happens again, it may not be as simple as fainting a group of students and a ninja school teacher." What Shirihong didn't know was that the people who were unconscious now were not just a group of students, but also an Irika. More than 70% of the entire population of Kiba fell into a coma. After all, the upper ninja or the powerful middle ninja. Or it could be special endurance. Or a ninja with strong willpower. After all, it's just a minority. As the third-generation leader of my village, Huiying Dian Ape Flying Sun / I had already known about this news and had already dispatched the secret forces to investigate this matter as soon as possible. In the heart of Monkey Flying Sun / this is a big deal about the survival of the leaves of wood. After all, what happened was too bizarre. It makes people have to be extremely vigilant. Kiba has entered the first level of security. At that time, during the Nine Tails Rebellion, Kiba was in a first-level alert state. This is enough to demonstrate how much Monkey Flying Sun / values this matter. After watching Shirihong leave, Lu Chen used his aura to perceive that she had already left at least a few hundred meters away. Only then did he emerge from Hinata's sea of consciousness and tap Hinata's small head with a smirk, saying, "Get up, little girl. The woman outside the door has already left for a while." Hinata quietly opened one of her eyes, and Shulingaling's eyeballs twirled around. Seems to be quietly observing the movements around. Then he slowly breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at all the unconscious classmates, she couldn't help but swallow her saliva secretly. She said in her heart that it was not shocking, but it was all fake. She obediently asked curiously, "Guardian Spirit Brother. You. How did you do this? Is it an illusion?" Lu Chen shook his head and said, "This is the Domineering in Domineering color. Only one person out of millions can appear with the Domineering qualification. And this person can awaken the Domineering in Domineering color under specific coincidental conditions. Hegemonic and Domineering. Another strange term that I don't understand." Although Hinata's face was a bit confused. "But it always feels very powerful, if only I had the ability to do the same. In that case, there shouldn't be anyone who can bully me, right? Actually, it can't be called bullying, it's just that they go too far in their daily lives." Hinata's face carried a hint of disappointment, while her heart murmured with a hint of longing. Being domineering in domineering depends on luck. If you don't want to be bullied, you have to work hard. Spend 10 times or even 100 times more effort than others to cultivate. If you have any problems, I can also help you solve them. Lu Chen had a slight smile on his face, indicating that he had plans to cultivate his embryonic field. After all, he didn't know that once Hinata died, what will happen to oneself? Do we also die together? Forget it, Lu Chen is only 25, he doesn't want to die so soon. To avoid unexpected events, take time to cultivate your field. It is also a very reasonable arrangement. Hinata, little girl. Do you want to become stronger? The kind of person who punches and kills a Hokage. Chapter 6. A real big pancake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After hearing Lu Chen's voice, Hinata didn't react at first. She slowed down for several seconds. Only then did I finally understand what exactly does Lu Chen mean by this sentence. Hinata had a puzzled expression on her face. Although her voice was still soft and weak, her tone was incredulous and remained very clear. Huiying is the most powerful person in my village. How could she have the power to punch Huiying with one punch? It's actually very normal for her to think so, after all, when Lu Chen was watching Naruto back then. I also think that the most impressive thing in Hokage is the third-generation camera. And then one by one, perverts emerged. I just realized that Sandemu is just a younger brother. In the past Hokage, he belongs to the type of junior brother, although he may be much stronger than the future 6th generation Hokage and Chimu Kakashi, he is probably the second to last type, either the second to last or the third to last. Even in the midst of the fire's shadow thousand-handed pillar, no one can kill him. There are several levels of existence. In each of the 6 levels there is also a certain sealed Himeji. The smile on Lu Chen's face did not diminish, and he spoke up, "If you let the current 3rd generation leader fight me, I can punch him to death." Of course, there is a premise here, which is that the 3rd generation eyes will not dodge and will forcefully attack Lu Chen with a punch. Lu Chen's physical skills can shatter an island with just one punch, and he feels that he really has the potential to punch the head of the elderly 3rd generation directly into his stomach or explode his head with just one punch. After all, in the world of Hokage, except for some people, most of them are crispy mages or crispy assassins. Moreover, blue chakra is also easily depleted. People with truly thick blood can be said to be very rare. It's not like those humanoid monsters in One Piece, fighting one by one for days and nights, just like playing around at first. He and the beast Kaido fought fiercely for 10 days and 10 nights without taking a minute off. Their unprecedented battle destroyed a large island, 4 medium-sized islands, and more than 10 small islands. Even the climate of a sea area in the New World has been forcefully changed. The two of them have no restraint at all. From land to sky, from sky to land, from land to sky, this cycle lasted for 10 days and 10 nights, and Lu Chen, who was fighting, almost died from exhaustion. The most forceful drag killed all the beasts, Kaiduo, showing a more abnormal physique than Kaiduo. From that moment on, the strongest man by sea, land, and air. He has become Lu Chen. My thoughts have been retrieved from the memories of the past. Since we have all come to the world of Hokage, everything in the past is just memories, it is already in the past tense. Looking at Hinata in front of him, Lu Chen continued, "If you want to have powerful power, I don't mind teaching you something, although I'm not sure if you can awaken or hear about the dominance of the dominant color. But one thing I can be certain of is that your future achievements will definitely not be inferior to the 3rd generation of Hokage. You can even be stronger than him. But I already have a teacher." Hinata was very hesitant in his heart. Although her personality is very weak, it does not mean that she likes to be bullied. She also wants to resist, but her strength is very weak, and even her temperament is very weak. Hinata is very eager to change. But on the other hand, she is also the eldest lady of the Kiba Hinata clan. And her current teacher is Irika. Can I still pay homage to another teacher? For Hinata's somewhat conservative ideas, Lu Chen really has a headache. This little girl is good everywhere. Sometimes her thoughts can be too conservative, but this is also worthy of being a good wife and mother in the future. Of course, after Lu Chen's intervention, the relationship between Hinata and Naruto. It's probably just an ordinary classmate relationship. Neither of them even said a word. I can teach you to become a strong person, and even if I teach you to practice, it doesn't matter. Does ninja school rule that you can only have one teacher? Lu Chen couldn't help but burst into laughter and said, "Your current strength is too weak. If you don't want to drag others down in the future, you need to work hard to become stronger. That way you can avoid dragging others down. No one can bully you then." Although Lu Chen's tone was very calm, it carried a different kind of allure, especially for someone like Hinata, for children who are often bullied. This strange feeling is like deceiving a little kid. However, Lu Chen did not care about those details. The matter of guarding the spirit. Can it be called deception? That's teaching. That's guidance. But my talent is not high, and teacher Irika once said that my personality will have a great impact on my future journey as a ninja, and may even make it difficult for me to become a qualified ninja. Hinata whispered weakly, with a tone that couldn't help but feel a bit lost. Suddenly she felt her little head. It seems like someone is holding it down. I saw Lu Chen rub the hair of Hinata, and as her face was flushed and about to faint, she said, "Before I practiced, my talent was even weaker than yours. You are a direct blood relative of the Hinata clan and have a talent that no one else has. And even if I can't become a qualified ninja in the future, can't I become stronger? I'm not a ninja. But if I invade Konoha, I have 100% confidence that I can destroy the entire Konoha. His words are so plain, but the content of his words is beyond doubt. This is Lu Chen's confidence. Confidence in one's own strength. Not becoming a ninja. Is it possible to become stronger? Just like you, the Guardian Spirit brother. Hinata's small face carried a look of longing. But the crimson on his face still lingers. Even as time passed by, her small head was like steam, with a feeling of fainting at any moment. Lu Chen moved his palm without leaving any trace, fearing that it would continue like this. Hinata will burn out his brain. But he can also be certain. Hinata's heart has been shaken sure enough, it's not very difficult to deceive a child. Just draw a big cake in the drawing area. And while other people's pancakes are all fictional, the pancakes painted by Lu Chen are actually real. Chapter 7. Traces, Little Hinata's Talent. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Under the command of the third-generation Fire Shadow, both ordinary members of the dark side and the root members of the group are crazily investigating the beginning and end of this matter. In just a few short days the entire wooden leaf was almost flipped upside down by the roots and dark parts. However, the final result was not surprising. Under the crazy investigation of the dark side and the roots, they still cannot investigate anything. There are no foreign powerhouses in the village, at least no shadow-level powerhouses, and that terrifying aura, in the eyes of many people at least it needs to be a shadow-level presence to exude this aura, right? However, under the investigation of Kiba, there were some unique gains. It can also be considered a somewhat unexpected gain. That is the dark part and roots of the wood leaves. Surprisingly, many spies from other countries were caught in my village. The number of spies in the other 4 major ninja villages can be said to be the highest. It goes without saying why so many spies were sent to Kiba. However, for those so-called spies, Sandemu is actually not interested. What he still cares about is the momentum that swept across the entire wooden leaf that day. What kind of strong person is he really? Can one possess such a royal aura? To be honest, many people believe that the opponent is a shadow-level powerhouse, but the third-generation monkey flying sun slayer does not think so, because he is very clear that even as a fire shadow, he cannot emit such a terrifying aura. Is it true that nothing can be found after all? Although it's not unexpected, there are still some concerns. The development of the matter has gone beyond control. In the Hokage office of Kiba, Ape Flying Sun was holding a pipe in his mouth. The wisps of green smoke enveloped his face. The joy and anger that make one unable to see his expression. Although his expression did not change much, his heart was still very solemn. This can be clearly seen from a few days ago when Kiba had not lifted his first level of vigilance. Knocking. 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 A slight knock on the door suddenly sounded, and Monkey Flying Sun Jean was slightly taken aback before speaking. The door is not closed, just push it open. Please come in. The wooden door of the office was pushed open and a man with a beard walked in. The age of men is not actually very old, but due to growing a beard, it looks very mature. The man, dressed in forbearable attire, looked at the Monkey Flying Sun and respectfully said, "Lord Huiying, we still can't find anything at the moment. However, according to our statistics, the momentum that swept through the leaves at that time caused 78.77% of the people in the village to fall into a coma. There are many buildings among them, and there are inexplicably many cracks on the walls. I think we can start investigating from these cracks, and perhaps there may be some other unexpected gains." Is there a lot of cracks on the wall for no apparent reason? Monkey Flying Sun nodded and rubbed his tired eyebrows, then smiled helplessly. Asthma. When in private, you don't need to call me Huiying, let's call me father. As for the matter of the cracks. I will arrange members of the dark side, please pay more attention to this aspect. The man with a beard nodded and said, okay. Father. What was investigated by Sandai Mu Huiying was unclear to Lu Chen, who was not sure how far away. At the same time, he did not care about these things. Even if the other party finds out, he can easily subvert the power of Kiba. Are you afraid of anything? It simply doesn't exist. At most, it's just that we can't let Hinata, this little girl, develop into a lewd mess. Of course, Lu Chen doesn't think the other party can find out. Because he didn't leave any evidence at all. The cracks on the wall actually, we cannot give the other party much clues. Lu Chen, who exists in a special form, looked up at the midday sky, and then looked at the sweaty little field. He said, you can easily eat dozens of bowls of ramen noodles at one meal. The energy intake of so many foods has created your physique that is far beyond ordinary people. It's just that you don't know how to use this physique, or rather, in the realm of ninja. Not many people will use this physique. But I can perfectly bring your physique into play in the right direction. There was no change in Lu Chen's expression, and he did feel that Hinata was born suitable for physical skills. You can eat dozens of bowls of ramen noodles at will. A normal adult can only eat 2 bowls at most. Hinata, who is only 9 years old, has an appetite of more than 10 adults, which is absolutely shocking to the secular world. However, despite consuming so much energy in her body, she did not properly convert it into power, which is a waste of time. In Lu Chen's previous impression, it was basically the king of the big stomach equals abnormal physical surgery. And the fact is indeed so. The more you eat, the more you eat. The more abnormal the physical and surgical aspects are. The use of this physique that Hinata does not understand is considered a luxury waste. Or even the famous Hinata clan. Everyone thinks their young lady is useless. Okay, perhaps in the world of Hokage, the reason why physical skills are not mainstream is that those with powerful physical skills are basically practicing the 8 gates of escaping armor, as if using cheats to forcefully increase their physical skills in multiples. So basically no one would think of those big stomach kings, especially those who eat a lot. But it's just a big stomach king who can't grow fat. Each one is a pervert in physical cultivation. Anyway, I really don't know much about ninjutsu. Teaching this little girl physical skills can be considered a reasonable use of her talent. Based on her current foundation, as long as she doesn't slack off in her cultivation, becoming a shadow-level girl should be safe. Looking at Hinata, who was carrying a few stone bricks and jumping around the pool. Lu Chen's face showed a slight smile. When I was trained by teacher Zifa at that time, it seems like it's also so difficult, right? It depends on whether Hinata is working hard or not. Chapter 8. Makeup exams at ninja school. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is this still human? Is there a dimensional stomach inside the stomach, right? In a shop called Yao Ramen Noodles Restaurant, on a long street with a large flow of people in Mai, the shop manager and chef hit with his hands. At this time, his face was shocked, and he looked at the 30 or more bowls stacked on the table. He swore that it was the first time he had seen a customer with such an exaggerated appetite since opening his store for so long. After eating 36 bowls of ramen noodles at one time, I still haven't finished. This is simply a non-human monster. However, it has been proven that the other party is indeed a very normal human. And she's also a young girl. Seeing those pure and flawless water spirit white eyes, you can tell that they are members of the Hinata clan. His ramen noodles has always been famous for its large amount of food. Normal people can eat almost 1 bowl of it. Even very hungry people can only eat about 2 bowls at most. Today, however, he was enlightened. He ate 36 bowls of ramen noodles in half an hour. This feat can definitely be called the king of stomach. Looking at Hinata in front of me. Although Handa has an expression of amazement on his face, he is actually very happy because he ate 36 people's share of ramen noodles just for a sunrise field that 36 bowls are. He tentatively asked, "Little guest, won't you hold on?" Hinata shook her head and said, "I only ate 70% full." Hand hit. Dot. Is this a monster? Absolutely a monster. Forced to resist the impulse of roast, his hands showed a simple smile. If the little guest still wants to eat, I can continue to cook several bowls. Hinata's delicate little face flashed with excitement, but soon she shook her head. She took out some money from her wallet, counted it and placed it on the table. Hinata clasped her hands and said solemnly, "Thank you for your hospitality, boss. The teacher said I can't eat too much, otherwise it will have a counterproductive effect during cultivation." After watching Hinata leave, he walked forward and put away the coins on the table. I couldn't help but sigh and say, children nowadays are really hard-working. He didn't think too much. He still thought that the teacher in Hinata's mouth was the ninja school's middle ninja teachers. Actually, that's not the case. The teacher in Hinata's mouth is Lu Chen, the traveler who knocked out half of the wooden leaf a few days ago. Of course, only Hinata and Lu Chen are likely to know about this matter. As long as the two of them don't say anything, no one will know about this matter. Just as he was thinking about his youth, a voice suddenly interrupted his thoughts. Boss. Have a bowl of ramen noodles, put more meat, less vegetables, more noodles. With a helpless smile, he turned his head and said, Naruto, you're here again, kid. Dot. At this moment, Hinata, who had already walked away, curiously asked in his heart, Guardian Spirit brother. Do we still need to do frog jumping training today, just like yesterday? Lu Chen nodded and said, your body is too weak, you need to lay a solid foundation. Oh. Hinata nodded in confusion. Okay, actually she doesn't understand. However, as long as it is what Lu Chen said, she basically won't have any doubts. It may be because the two of them have been together for a long time. Hinata trusts Lu Chen very much, even more than her father. As for why this happened, no one can explain it clearly. Who knows what children think? Anyway, Lu Chen is not sure. However, in the past few days, what Lu Chen had anticipated was that although Hinata had not undergone the transformation of the original work, her weak and willing to give up halfway temperament gradually began to change day by day. Although the speed of change is not fast, it can still be considered as progress, isn't it? On the day when Hinata first worshipped him as his teacher, she can't even hold on for an hour. Because in the eyes of Hinata, the cultivation plan set by Lu Chen for her is simply not something that a person can complete. Even if an adult receives this kind of training, it is estimated that within a week, the entire person will be useless, right? Even Hinata himself never imagined that he had persisted until now. It has been half a month since she started her apprenticeship process. She can clearly feel that she is making progress. Although ninjutsu and chakra, these things are still stagnant. But in terms of physical skills among all peers, no one is her opponent. Time passes by day again under the deliberate guidance of Lu Chen. Hinata's physical foundation is gradually being developed step by step. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed. A news disrupted Hinata's cultivation plan. Due to the coma incident that occurred a month ago, all the students at the ninja school fainted, and there was no follow-up on the final exam. The result now is that the Chinese ninja Irika said he wants the students to take a makeup exam. Of course, this is highly likely the intention of the third generation. After all, in the ninja school, Sandemu is an honorary principal. Has significant decision-making power. Is it a make-up exam for all students? Then let's go. Anyway, it won't delay the day, and we can also take a look at you. You have grown to a certain extent so far. And since it's a makeup exam, the content of the exam is probably different. If they're taking chakras or ninjutsu, it doesn't matter if they don't do well. If it's a test of melee combat, then get a good ranking. Chen spoke up and said that he did not prevent Hinata from taking the make.up exam. After all, this ninja school makeup exam can also be considered a form of exercise. It's definitely right to let Xiaochutian, this little girl, experience more. The flowers in the greenhouse are even more delicate. Ultimately, it is very fragile. After obtaining Chen's permission, Hinata nodded seriously and clenched a fair little pink fist, saying, I will definitely get a good ranking. Hinata sauce will not disappoint Guardian Spirit brother. P.S. Seeking flowers, evaluating tickets, collecting, Memeta equals 3 equals. Chapter 9. Defending and Fighting the Challenge. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The makeup exam for the ninja school was quickly held, and as a teacher, Jongren Irika brought the students in the class to a training ground, which was used for ninja sparring and borrowed by Irika. Glancing at the students in his class, Irika belongs to that kind of a teacher who takes great care of both inferior and top students. He didn't make any distinctions. Tightened the tight-fitting clothes. Irika slowly exhaled and sorted out what he wanted to say in his mind. After a moment, he spoke up and said, because there was an accident last time that prevented the final exam from going smoothly. We will have a make.up exam this month, and there is no need to test theoretical knowledge, train your courage or test your psychological resilience. With a smile on his face, he said, today's makeup exam is about practical training. Just as the voice of Irika had fallen, all the little brats were in an uproar. Practical combat training. Although they are all students of the ninja school, they are still in 3rd grade and not yet old enough for practical training. So basically, there won't be any practical training during normal times. But now, Teacher Irika is going to undergo a practical test. Use this practical test as a supplementary exam content. Many little brats had an excited expression on their faces. Especially those little boys. Of course, there are also some high cold ones. Actual combat. Actual combat. It seems that this time, it is destined to be relegated. Hinata's mental state is a bit low. If it's a theoretical exam, she still has a little bit of confidence. After all, in terms of ninja theory, she is definitely a top student who can easily articulate a series of theories, and even make her, a 9-year-old girl, write related papers without any problem. But she has never been exposed to practical training before. She felt that she might have to repeat her grade this time. And it's the type with a very high probability. Sensing the little girl's thoughts, Chen shook his head and said with a dumbfounded smile, since you don't have to worry about this makeup exam content, with your physique, you are far ahead of your peers and even adults. In this situation, conducting practical assessments is very advantageous for you. Hinata regained his composure from the slump. A hint of hope rose in my heart. I couldn't help but ask weakly, Guardian Spirit brother. Can I really pass the makeup exam? I usually even fight when I watch others fight from a distance. In the original work of Hokage, Hinata, this little girl, was indeed like this when she was a child. I feel a bit too kind inside. And the personality is not resilient enough. It was during the Chinese ninja exam and the battle against Hinata Nishimasa that she began a thorough transformation, with a 180-degree change in personality. This may be a bit exaggerated, but it's almost like that. The embryonic field that did not undergo that transformation. She doesn't feel shy now, it's already Chen who has been teaching very well these days. Personality is Hinata's biggest weakness. Fortunately, it can also slowly change. Anyway, Chen is not in a hurry, he has plenty of time. Just as Chen was about to say something more, Irika's voice rang out again, this is a practical assessment. The place under my feet is an arena, and our rules are the same as ordinary fights. But the only difference is, all of you are champions, and I am the one who fights. If you can persist for 15 minutes, congratulations. All of you can smoothly advance to 4th grade. But if you persist for less than 15 minutes, then all of you will have to repeat the grade. After Irika finished speaking, the whole room once again erupted in excitement. After all, no matter what, Teacher Irika is also a moderate ninja. Although not particularly powerful in China. But among the 20.30 students present at the ninja school, there was not even a single ninja. Even if they had an advantage in numbers, they couldn't possibly beat Teacher Irika, could they? Of course, the above idea just the thoughts of ordinary students. There are actually a few people eager to try. For example, Uchiha Sasuke, Naruto Vortex. There are still many students who have their own pride in their hearts. Of course, Naruto is an exception, he is purely honey confidence. I don't know where confidence comes from. Teacher Irika. With a pineapple braid tied and a pair of lifeless fish eyes open, Nara Deer Maru suddenly raised his hand and said, "You are a ninja, and we don't even have a single ninja. We may not be able to hold on for even 10 minutes. This competition seems a bit unfair, doesn't it?" Irika shook his head and said, "I'm not afraid you'll be proud to speak up. You are the best students I've ever taught, and the teacher believes you have this ability." Irika's words have already reached this point, and Nara Lumaru also knows that talking too much is of no use. After all, this is the teacher's decision. What can he say as a student? Only with a helpless expression on his face. "It's really troublesome," he muttered to himself. "As long as I hold on for 15 minutes, is that enough? If I can't hold on for even 15 minutes, what qualifications do I have to go find that man?" There was no expression on Uchiha Sasuke's face since the extermination of his tribe. His face rarely shows a smile anymore. I hardly even smiled. A hint of war flashed in his eyes, and there was a feeling of eagerness to try. Before becoming a ninja, he had a rare opportunity to fight against a Chinese ninja, just to see how his level was. Irika noticed the different expressions on the faces of the students. He still felt a little relieved in his heart. After all, these children in front of him are all his students. His students are not afraid of any battles, nor are they afraid of any strong enemies. There is nothing more gratifying for him than this. So now, the countdown starts.